Good morning, everyone. I'm gonna be real brief. In this video, I want to talk about, I want to tell the truth about sports. Now, of course, everybody has their views and opinions of things, but I'm the type of guy that keeps it real. Like I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter what player or team I like, I keep it real. Like you can clearly see, I'm a diehard Patriots fan and a Tom Brady fan, but that's the thing about me. Like I told people before, Tom Brady, my boy, should have retired like a year or two ago. Not that he's trash or nothing, but he's proved all he needs to prove. It's nothing else to prove, but of course, at the same time, he's grown, he makes his own decisions, he loves football, so nothing's wrong with him playing at the same time. But really what I want to talk about is this. I may be young compared to other people, but the fact is, it doesn't make sense for people to compare different sports, different eras of sports to each other. How can, like, if you look at boxing, which really has nothing to do with this, but I'm using a good example, you can't put somebody like, let's say, you can't put a skinny person like Floyd Mayweather in a boxing ring against Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, or somebody else. You want to know why? Because the weight class is different. In order for it to be fair, they have to be a part of the same weight class. So it's the same thing with sports. People want to talk about who's the GOAT. How can you compare, let's say, Michael Jordan, LeBron, my main point, or you can't even compare Michael Jordan to Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain because the game was different. And then you got to look at how many years. If Michael Jordan only played 15 years, I'm not sure how many years, what's his name? The other two played, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. But the game was different. They had different rules. They didn't have, back in Bill's days and Wilt, they didn't have no 3-second violation. They didn't have no 3-pointers. They didn't have no dunk contest. So people need to think about that. You have to be fair. You can't sit there and just say, I'm going to compare this person because I like him to somebody else because, now you can actually because it's your decision, it's your free will choice. But to be fair and to be realistic, it doesn't make sense. Like, I can't compare my boy Tom Brady to the guys back in the day. The game was different. And of course, Tom Brady, at times, he sits there, like the refs at times may sit there and call a roughing the passer because of who he is. When you're rich and famous and got money and stuff, LeBron James or Michael Jordan, whoever, you get your way. You're at the top of the line. Just like if it comes to getting a haircut. If you got $50 and you just came in, don't get shocked if a barber puts you before somebody who actually was supposed to be before you, because money talks. But the bottom line fact is, people think I'm jealous, and that's why I made this video. I'm trying to tell you from the horse's mouth that I respect LeBron. Hands down, LeBron is the Jordan of this era, meaning he's the best in the game as far as the number of years played. He's played 20 years, and he may only play another year or two. But when you compare him to Michael Jordan and other people, that's not fair to say, because nobody but God, who knows everything, sees everything, knows what the game would be like if Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic, Kareem, and other people played now. And also he knows what the game would be if Kobe, LeBron, Allen Iverson, all these other people, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, etc. If all these guys played back in the day, we don't know what the game would be like. Only God himself knows. So what good does it make to compare these people and to debate about it when it's best to just respect all of their games? Even if you don't like them, it's not about debating or comparing them. It's about saying, hey, I respect you for what you've done. I respect your game, this and that. But it's a lot of stuff that's different about the game. Like, you can even look at the fact that back in the day, they beat each other up. Like, all this fighting and stuff. Of course, I get that. But, like, as a man, I kind of feel like that's more better than where you can barely lay a finger, a pinky on somebody, and they call you for a foul. And it's other times when all you do is you got your hands wide open trying to stick somebody, stick defense, guard them, and they call a foul. You ain't even lay a finger on them. You weren't even 2 or 3 inches away from that person or close to the person. So that's why I don't like sports these days. Basketball, football, it's like my WWE wrestling. It's so much to it. It's not necessarily political, but A lot of it at times is rigged, and a lot of these refs know what they're doing. They get paid at times to do certain things, and they sit there at times and make a lot of messed up calls that cost the team a game. And also, that's the thing about it. The refs are kind of like police at times. They have the upper hand. They're in charge. So whatever they say goes. But I heard people say before that at the end of the season, when they screw up and make bad calls, they end up having to give an account and they get fined or penalized for that. But I'm just saying, like, people can't compare all this crisscrossing and all this other type of stuff they do in basketball these days. You can't compare that to back in the day when these guys were slowly walking down the court, steady passing the ball back and forth. They didn't do all that crisscrossing over. They didn't do a lot of stuff that we do now. Like, guys these days, a lot of them are soft. They get mad. Back in the day, they couldn't put up with Charles Barkley, Dennis Rodman, Larry Nance, and other guys. I'm young, but I'm old school. I'm 31, but I got an old school mindset. I don't have to be 50, 60 years old to know about back in the day. I do my history. I learn things. But the fact is, I respect everybody's game. I'm not a LeBron hater, but when you want to put that man in the same sentence with Michael Jordan, nobody really relates to him, because for him to be his weight and his size, his height, the game he played and had was different. His creativity, the way he took jumpers and just knocked it down. It's like he just jumped kind of like Stephen Curry, and it was nothing but net almost all the time, just about. And what I'm saying is this. Michael Jordan had his years when he played like trash and sucked. And of course, it was times when they sucked at the team. And I get that. That's everybody. My boy Tom Brady, if you look at his record against the Miami Dolphins, he was trash. I'm not shocked or mad about that. It is what it is. Everybody has a bad record when it comes to different teams, and the same thing when it comes to good. Everybody has good records when it comes to different teams. So what I'm saying is, people need to stop and give Michael Jordan, LeBron, and other people credit where it belongs. I'm not a hater of nobody. I don't even have a basketball team. I like Westbrook, but I don't even really pay attention to Westbrook no more, because it's like, I don't know what's about him. He's good, but he's not like he was a few years ago when he was on the Rockets and the Wizards. It's like his game has changed, especially around the people he played with. Him and LeBron James didn't make a good fit, in my opinion, along with when he played with AD and Patrick Beverly, all these other guys. But what I'm trying to say is that people need to realize, now, it's other people out there that won't give LeBron James credit, of course, but I'm not one of them. I just don't like when people compare Michael Jordan and LeBron. Michael Jordan was like me or Kobe. He was 6'6", 6'7", 233 or so. LeBron James is 6'8", about 265. That's a big difference. That's a big weight class. It doesn't make any sense to compare opposites. That's all I'm saying. Scottie Pippen, the post I shared on Facebook yesterday, is more of a fair, reasonable way of comparing to LeBron, because they both were great. Now, of course, Scottie Pippen, career-wise, wasn't, well, I take that. I'm not going to say who was better. They both were good, Scottie Pippen and LeBron. But I'm looking at the fact that they were about the same height, same weight. Michael Jordan was skinnier until he got older and went to the Wizards. But you can't compare, like, let me say this. I know for a fact that nobody in the world with common sense would compare LeBron to Shaq. You want to know why? Because Shaq wasn't an all-around good player. He couldn't shoot threes. Like Draymond Green and other people can't shoot threes. That's not what he was made to do. He was a center. His job was to grab rebounds, put the ball back up, dunk the ball, etc. So you can't compare Shaq, for example, to a lot of players. You can't compare him to Michael Jordan. You can't compare him to Allen Iverson. You can't compare him to LeBron James. So what I'm saying is, people need to realize that there is no such thing as a GOAT of basketball, a GOAT of football. There's not, because it's different eras, different positions, different stats. You have to look at the records. You have to look at the stats. You have to look at everything and compare the differences and compare the similarities and see what is fair and see what this player has and what this player doesn't have. That's the only fair way to do it. But when you want to brag on this person and say this person's a GOAT, that person, I really don't have a GOAT. I used to say Michael Jordan was a GOAT, and I kind of think as far as his game he is, but overall, I can't say that. he doesn't have the most rings, even though rings is not what it's all about. It's about other stuff too. Bill Russell does with 11. Michael Jordan also, what was I about to say? Also, when it comes to other things, I'm trying to think. Like, it's so much to look at. You got MVPs, you got Defensive Player of the Year, Player of the Year. You got, it's so much to look at. You got, what's some other things called? You got some other things like, points per game, rebounds, assists. It's so much to look at. And I'm going to tell you this too. A lot of people want to play the stupid role, but Michael Jordan, he didn't really do too much assists like Kobe or LeBron and other people, because he either knocked down a shot or he passed the ball. Or if he missed a shot, somebody else put it up and made it, like Dennis Rodman. So the point is, that's why he doesn't have that many assists, because of the type of game he did, what he did when he played. People have to factor that in. It ain't hard to comprehend. It's about using your common sense. But what I'm saying is, don't put people who are not in the same class, don't compare them. It doesn't make sense. It's idiotic and stupid. That's like trying to put, like wrestling, that's like trying to put a 7-foot Big Show giant against a short 5-foot person. It's not fair. A big person would slaughter, a lot of times, a short person. But if you're talking about boxing, I've seen some skinny, muscular guys beat the crap out of a tall, 300-pound guy. But that's a different situation, even though it's not fair for those people to be fighting in the first place, because they're not, they don't weigh around the same thing. It's not fair. But what I'm saying is that I really don't have no GOAT as far as basketball or football. I just like to see all these guys play, have fun, and I respect all of their games. But it doesn't make sense to compare different players from different eras with different rules. The game is not the same. The All-Star game is not even fun like it used to be. All these guys missing dunks. Back then, Vince Carter and Jason Richardson and Dominique Wilkins and Sean Kemp, Michael Jordan, all these guys really didn't usually miss a dunk. They may miss it one time and go back up there and make the next shot. But it's like now, all these guys, like last year, his son, Greg Anthony's son, sat there and put on some Timberlands representing New York Knicks that he played for. Like, he missed, I think, the dunk once or twice, but it's about entertainment and money. Even the football game, the All-Star game, or whatever they call it, the Pro Bowl, it's not as good as it used to be. They don't even have a regular. I like the fact that they got these little challenges and stuff for the quarterbacks and other yard dash and stuff, but it's not the same because they don't have a regular AFC versus NFC game. And my point is, it's all about money, entertainment. And that's what most stuff in the world is about. But the Bible states that the love of money is the root of all evil. But a lot of people don't care, don't think about that, because all this stuff going on in the world has to do with money. It sucks, but that's the world we live in. But that's my point. I'm just trying to let people know out there, when I post stuff about sports, I just post stuff because I love sports. I'm in love with sports. But I'm speaking for myself. I don't care what nobody thinks. I'm telling you what I know. I respect LeBron. I'm not jealous. I'm not making no excuse. I'm not calling him trash like other folks do. People need to comprehend that. So you may not like a post of mine. That's your opinion. But you need to know for a fact that I'm not jealous of LeBron. I don't care what you think or what you say. The fact is, I don't like comparing him and other players of this era to the old era. You can't even compare Michael Jordan to the old days. So that's why I say there's no GOAT. It can't be a GOAT if you didn't play all these different eras with all these different players. It makes sense. It's just being fair, and it's just keeping it real, being realistic. But that's all I wanted to say. So, well, I forgot to say that earlier too. Yeah, so of course LeBron is the best as far as most points, but you also have to look at how many years different players played. Like Michael Jordan went to college for 3 years, North Carolina. He started gambling and stuff, I think around the time his father died. David Stern suspended him for 18 months. Then after that, he played baseball for however long. That has a lot to do with why he's not number 2 or something like that in most points played. But I know that's not the point. But people need to factor that in about why he doesn't, how can he be the GOAT if he's not number 1 or number 2 at most points? He could have easily sat there and scored a lot of points if he would have came back or didn't go to college. LeBron James and other players decided not to go to college. They decided to go to the NBA, the pros, right when they left high school. And that's fine. But I'm saying people have to factor all this stuff in when it comes to sports. That's just being fair. Don't sit there and say this person is better, but this person's record and what they did has nothing to do and is complete opposite of somebody else who you're comparing them to. You got to keep it real. You got to look at the whole 9 yards and be real with yourself. But that's all I'm trying to say. I'm not jealous of LeBron. LeBron is the best in the game right now besides KD and some other guys. But overall, LeBron is a beast. I just don't like him being compared to old school guys because him and other guys didn't play back in the day. So why compare guys from back in the day if they didn't play? That makes no sense. I don't even compare Jordan to the old guys because I can't say. I don't know if he would have made it. I don't know if he not. Because they didn't have all this equipment and exercise machines and stuff like they do now. Guys now got it made, but Anthony Davis and Zion, for example, keep getting hurt. So it's like the game is soft compared to what it used to be. And I know people say back in the day that other people wouldn't have been able to make it now, but you can't 100% say that. They played more smarter, cool, calm, collected, and smooth. They didn't have what we have now. And what I like about the guys back then, Michael Jordan and other guys that were old school, they played when they were hurt. Michael Jordan played when he had the flu and other times. All these other guys back in his days played. They didn't make excuses and sit on a bench and sit there and get paid like Ben Simmons and all these other guys. That's why I'm old school, because I respect people who bust their butts off and don't make excuses. I'm a hustler, for example, so I'm not going to support somebody who sits on a bench getting this paycheck and they don't work. Like if I got a job and I don't go to work, I'm not going to get paid unless it's paid time off. But I'm just old school. I respect today's game, but really I don't care about sports because it's about money. It was about money back then, but it wasn't as bad or entertaining like it is now. That's all I'm trying to say. So once again, hands down, LeBron is the best in the game now, no questions asked, but there is no GOAT. There can't be a GOAT with different stats and different rules and stuff. That's all I'm trying to say, but I don't have no disrespect for nobody, just to let people know that. So may God bless you and your family on this wonderful Saturday, and may you have a great weekend.